Do it. Go live. And we are live. Welcome, everybody. Oh, wow, the delay is bad. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, whatever. Who cares? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of What's Your Story? Obviously, I have a really good friend here today. Haven't talked to him in a little bit, so wanted to bring him on because I missed the hell out of him, and because why not have fucking Warlock's mods? Well, Gathering Vapor, the maker of this fucking monster right here, which we're going to talk about. So, There's a lot of stuff we're going to talk about today. So, get ready. It's going to be fun. Wait for everybody to start coming in chat. Obviously, if you don't know who this guy is, this is the Gathering Vapor. Mr. Mark Clough.
Yeah, that's me.
Hat to him. Oh, my God. Oh, how is everybody doing? Thank you again for joining me today. I don't know if you were busy or something, so take a little bit, an hour out of your day just to chill, talk, you know.
It works.
Yeah, right? Need it sometimes.
Finally our schedules match up.
I know. It's awesome.
Well,
So before we... Wow, I was going to try to vape and talk at the same time. That wouldn't have worked.
that doesn't work good.
So before we get into everything, why don't you tell me what you're vaping on, man?
I've got... Trevor sent me this. This thing, I absolutely am impressed with the way this thing works. I just finally loaded this up today. I threw a set of Klownes. They're a single coil, but they act like a dual. He's got the
Oh, yeah,
bar
the
one across
one
the
that goes
top.
across the top, yeah.
Yep. I figured, you know what? I said, I've said this in the box. I'm going to set that up. So this thing I'm absolutely impressed with. I've got, my Unity, which I use all the time.
Yeah.
It's on the Jackaroo, which I beat everything up. I mean, this thing is 6 months old. It's got 30,000 hits on it,
So
and it still looks like it's brand new.
abused it.
Oh, I've literally, it's been 6 inches from where I've been welding something. So, and not an issue.
There you go.
And then I've got my last one, which is my Guardian, which is LiPo version with 400 watt, which will hold a 30 mil.
Oh, yeah.
And my whipped witch, which is my strawberry whipped cream, which is pretty much in everything, which is my favorite.
There you go.
So, we were just discussing that, how you like the sugar.
Oh, yeah. Come on. I better turn on some more lights in this bitch. There we go. Haha. Don't mind the messiness. Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Messy room. Like always. People gotten used to it by now.
Oh, dude. Well, when you're busy, you don't have time to do everything.
Whatever. So is that all you got?
That's it.
Okay. Might as well go off my little buffet I have going. I have a few things. Let's see. I got Skelly 213 with the Blotto. With some
Old school.
Noms coconut sticky rice. And then I got Black Dreamer with the Rebirth on top. DHD tip on
Nice.
there. Inside of there, I got some Silverback Lola. Strawberry banana action. And then finally, I got my stack truck with the Cosmonaut 2.
That thing's a beast.
And inside of there, I got some Sad Boy Blueberry Jam Cookie, which this stuff is amazing. If you guys haven't tried the Blueberry Jam Cookie from Sad Boy, I highly recommend it. And then, of course, keeping the best for last, I got Warlock's Hammer, of course, Dead Rabbit. With,
I love that engraving.
With some Sickwids Crispies in there. I haven't been vaping much of that, but I've been trying to gradually go down on it because this is like more of a lighter flavor, I guess. It's really sweet, but it's light. It's like, I can't describe. It's like, I don't know. It's different.
It's subtle.
Yeah, it's a subtle, but you still get that good sweetness out of it.
Yep.
I like it.
Yep.
I like it. Do I have anything else? I don't. Oh yeah, I got the Rebirth on the 218. Just a mod to grab when I'm doing stuff around the house, you know.
Hey, how's your M17 doing?
Oh, it's doing fantastic.
Okay, I just found it. I haven't
Doing fantastic.
All right, good.
Rocking.
Good.
The 510 hasn't come out.
It shouldn't.
If anybody doesn't know, this guy right here is the one that repaired this. This thing was dead, and he made it live again. So it's like, it's a mod I use once in a while. Plus, it's my rebuild stand, pretty much.
There you go. Make it the highly accurate, man. The DNA. So
yeah, you can't really. And then, funny thing is, I haven't used this thing yet since you. So I've been so lazy to clean the squonk bottle for it, to where it's just been sitting here since you sent it back to me.
You're killing me, Corey.
So at least there's no juice on the inside of it or liquid in there now. So, but
well, there wasn't when I sent it back. I mean,
yeah.
I put more alcohol in that thing than.
I know that thing was a messy little.
It was a little messy.
A little bit.
A little bit.
So, you obviously have watched the show before. You kind of know what we talk about here. My first question I always ask people when they come on here. Of course, you were a smoker. How old were you when you first started smoking cigarettes?
11 years old.
11 years old. How would you?
11.
How were you introduced to it?
My brother smoked. My father smoked. Tons of family members. When I first started, I my brother'd leave his cigarettes around, and I'd grab whatever out of there.
Was it just out of curiosity, or?
Everybody, all of his friends did it. And we were out working on the cars and everything else, and it was just a curiosity thing at first, and then I liked it. I have always that was my biggest problem with trying to quit.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I smoked for 33 years, man, and I drove for a living.
So that's like a religious thing, driving with a cigarette in your hand.
It's regardless whether I was driving one of my own tow trucks or I was driving a tow truck for the City of Syracuse Police Department, okay, it was coffee in one hand, cigarette in the other, okay, shifting, talking on the microphone and everything. It was a habit. I mean, I always had something in my hand, and that was the biggest problem I had with quitting. I tried everything, short of hypnotism and Shantex. The only reason I didn't try Shantex is I had 4 drivers when I was running the AAA fleet. 2 of them had to take a leave of absence for a month because they tried to commit suicide. Okay, and I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not touching that. No, I tried gum, I tried patches, I tried cold turkey, and something stressful would happen, and somebody'd have one, and I'd be like, give that, and I'd just take it up. I mean, I started 18 milligrams. I actually have my setup that I actually quit with. This is the actual setup that I quit with.
Would you look at that?
It's an Ely 40.
Is that the Nautilus on there?
Nautilus 2. I still use this.
That's a great little fucking tank.
This has Michelle's clove in it. The only craving that I have for actual tobacco products is cigars. I like a cigar every now and again. And her clove.
That's what I have in here.
Yeah, her clove with a nice whiskey, okay, is close enough for me that it's gone like that.
I'm telling you, people like all the people that have tried Michelle's liquid, and then like they've tried it in her setups where it's either a TM24 on her Doll Dime. Of course, you can't. That's all she uses, or it's her TM24 on her Aspen.
Yep.
Or it's on the Warlock mod you gave her.
Yep.
It's always that clove, and like nobody can really. It's hard for somebody to enjoy that style of vape because they're not. First of all, they're not used to the flavor of clove. But to me, I tried it, wasn't a fan of it. But then, when Michelle was making mine, I asked her, "Can you make that in a 12 milligram for me?" I had an idea. I wanted to try it in something.
I have one of her old school bottles.
It's like she sent me it's like the 30 mil bottle. No, it wasn't a 30. It was like a 15 mil that was unlabeled and everything.
Yeah.
So I was sitting here to myself. I'm like, because this when I was still using my Zero heavily, when I was still using like Nick Salt and stuff. I was like, I wonder how this would be 12 milligram in a Zero.
Yeah.
Threw that in the Zero, and I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. Like, her clove shines in mouth to lung. It shines.
Oh, absolutely. 100% agree with that. I mean,
I don't know what it is, but it's soothing.
This setup, it was perfect. I wish that I would have found it a lot sooner.
So what made you want to get into vaping? How would you get it? How were you first introduced to somebody saying?
A friend of mine, Rick, had one. Okay. I mean, big thing, looked like a lightsaber. Had a Nautilus, the original big Nautilus tank on it. Had this drip tip on it that had a ball socket that he could move it all around and tip it towards me. I mean, it was the weirdest thing that I'd ever seen. He had that, and we were going out. Amy and I used to go out and we'd go to a band or go out to a bar, have a drink or whatever, and they changed all the laws so you couldn't smoke in the bars anymore. So I picked up, I don't even think I have them anymore, the old C4 tanks on the pens. God, I overpaid for that thing. I paid $80 for this thing. Okay, but what did I know back then? So I picked one of those up, constantly leaked. It would, had the silica wicks in it, and they burn out left and right, and it never really worked. But what it worked for me was if we were going out to a bar, I didn't have to go outside, okay, because they didn't put that law into effect yet. So I didn't have to go outside. Well, we were going out to the casino. We were going to go listen to a couple of bands with some friends. And I knew we were going, and I made my own cigarettes. So I was out of tobacco and I was out of tubes. And I just said, you know what? I said, I'll go get them tomorrow. I said, I'm just going to go get a bottle of juice and I'm going to go get some coils, and, and I'll do that tonight while we're out drinking, and then I'll just go get my stuff tomorrow. So I walked into the local vape shop, which is also a tobacco shop, and everything.
How a lot of them were back when it first started.
Yeah, it was a head shop. It was they had cigarettes. They had the crepes. They had the barrels of whippets there. So they had this sitting there, and mine was getting pretty scratched up because I had a Nautilus Mini, and they had all this sitting there, and it was $65-$70, something like that. And I said, you know what, just give me the new one. And that was my first introduction to sub-ohm, because it had a 0.7 coil in it. It was when Aspire first came out with the 0.7s. I loaded that up. I had some black cherry in it. We went out. No issue the whole night. Didn't want a cigarette the whole night. Got up the next day, picked it up, and again, I never went and got tobacco or nothing. Sunday rolls around. I never went and got it because I didn't need to. Monday, I got halfway through my work day. I actually called Amy on my lunch and said, I think I'm going to quit smoking. I haven't had one since, Friday afternoon. And that was it. About a week, maybe a week and a half later, one of my coworkers was heading through my department to go outside and have a cigarette. And she says, hey, you want to come? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And she handed me a Newport Red. I literally got 2 drags out of it, and I went, nope, can't do this. This tastes like garbage. Okay, and I immediately I went to hand it back to her, and she goes, I don't want it. So I put it out and went back, and I grabbed my fruit. I had a melon at that point, and that was the last cigarette I've ever had.
So
that was.
So your first ever tank was it the Nautilus Mini then, or was it the?
Yeah, it was the Nautilus Mini. The Nautilus Mini. I broke glass after glass on that thing. This one, with the cage design, this thing's lasted. I've actually bought more of these and given them away to people to quit smoking than anything else.
Definitely,
because they work. They're easy to use. They're cheap now. Cripes, I've seen them on websites for $10.
Yeah, you can get them if you go on Fast Take. You probably get them for less than $10.
Yep.
You probably find them.
So and then being the cheap guy that I am, 30 mils, like a Space Jam Astro, which was the flavor that I actually really quit with. That was the flavor.
What was Astro? Astro
was a strawberry peach.
That's
green
what it
apple
was.
Combination.
Who was talking about that? Dwayne was talking about it on the 12-hour stream, I think.
Yep. But the problem with that was a 30 mil bottle in my area here was $37.
Oh, that's how it was back in the day all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you're looking at it. I remember when I bought my first, because they were kind of, like, the shop I went to kind of had house juice, but they also had, like, a friend that was local, like, within, like, a couple towns over that made stuff for the shop. The 20 mils were, like, $15-20. And so you're, just for a small 20 mil bottle.
That's how I got into DIY.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't want to spend that kind of money on it. So I started looking around and seeing if I could, I could come up with something. And I actually made my summer solstice.
Was your first flavor you ever made?
Yes. And it was my version of Space Jam Astro.
Okay.
And I to this day, this is still what I vape the most. This and Whipped Witch, the strawberry pink.
Did you watch anybody like on YouTube to like learn how to mix?
I did.
Who were your main guys that that you went?
There was a guy in Europe, DIY Vapor or something like that. He hasn't done a video in a year and a half, but he cloned a lot of Beard's stuff, unicorn milk, all the rest of that. And New Amsterdam Vapor, watched a lot of his stuff. He only had like maybe a dozen videos, but they were really in depth. Mm-hmm. DIY or Die, I did a lot of his. You know what I mean? And once I picked up, it's like cooking, man.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can cook, you can mix, right? I found one piece of software that's completely free. If anybody's looking for it, it's if you go to Google or any search engine and type in DIY juice calculator, it'll I can actually get you the link, Corey, but it's free, and it lets you put in your percentages, okay, and keeps track of all your recipes for you, and it does the calculations all automatically for you. So, hi, Michelle.
Let's see if I can find it. Let's see. There's steam engines, DIY liquid, free vaping calculator.
No, it's this was made by a guy. He hasn't updated it in a while, but frankly, it doesn't need it.
Let's see. There's e-liquid recipes /create.
Yeah, that one I've used too.
Make my vape.
Hang on a minute. I'm pulling it up right now.
Todd Muller.
It is a phenomenal piece of software.
Is it the website just DIYJuiceCalculator.com?
Yep.
There it is. Found it right here.
Yeah.
So here you are, guys.
It's a quick setup. I mean, it'll break it down to where you can put the prices you pay for all your flavorings and your nicotine base and everything else. And it does the calculations for the nicotine base, where if you're using like 100 milligram nicotine, okay, and you only want 3 milligrams, it'll automatically do the calculations for whatever volume you're mixing. So if you're mixing a 120 mil, okay, it'll tell you how much, by weight or by drops or, by volume. I mix by weight. It's the most accurate. You get it spot on every time because I don't care what anybody says. Every drop is a different size. So it can, you can have a variance there. So if you're only looking to mix, 3 milligram, then, it'll calculate it out perfect.
Okay.
It's just a nice piece of software that it works. It's free. If you like it, do the guy a solid, throw him $5 on PayPal. He's got a link on his website.
Yeah.
Because he obviously put a lot of work into that software.
Definitely.
But that's how I got into doing. I just started mixing my own, and I would go to work, and I'd be out in the smoke shack because you had to, New York State law, you had to go out there, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, what is that?" And I'm like, "Well, that's what I make." And they're like, "You need to bring me some of that." How much? And that's where it started. Every Friday, I would go into work with a cooler
full of liquid bottles.
I tell them all, I'm like, "Look, tell me what you want Wednesday. I'll bring it Friday." Okay. So, I mean, at one point I was coming out of work every Friday with $100 to, $180 in cash just from selling liquid, and that's how I got doing the DIY thing.
Hold on, I'm trying to find one of your freaking bottles. There we are.
Yep.
Boom, there they are.
Yep. Which one is that? That's the Nightshade. Yeah, that's that's Mr. Franklin's fault right there.
Yeah, he's the dual
Pitch Black Mountain Dew.
It's spot on too. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah,
I know. Then we have, of course.
Yep, the Whipped Witch, man. Dude,
Witch.
How is that from NVE?
Yeah.
Oh, Court, you haven't vaped that yet?
You know what the drawer looks like.
I know what the drawer looks like, but that stuff's going to be phenomenal.
And then, of course, Tempting Gretel.
Yep, Skittles.
I thought I had another one. I don't know if I do or not.
Might have Pagan Fruit. I don't know. I had a bunch of that stuff.
Oh, there's Clown's Blue Sin in there. Okay. I'm not going to spend this time going through the drawer because we'd be here for hours.
Yep. That we would.
So with that being said, okay, you told us how you got introduced to making liquid and everything. Now the real question people want to know: what got you into making these monstrosities right here? Let me give you guys a little bit of if nobody knows what Mark makes, he makes a fantastic piece of machinery that I call machinery / fucking bomb in your hand, because everything goes off like, well, not a bomb like in your hand, not like that, but it just make things fucking hit hard as fuck. Like this thing is a dual 21700 parallel.
Or 20.
Yep. Cleanest work you can ever get inside a mod. Like, look at that.
I try.
That is professionalism in a box right there.
Thank you, Corey.
It's a parallel. He does series. He also does. You got the dagger, which is the parallel.
Yep.
18650.
And series now. That is Overdrip's fault.
Have you perfected that, or?
Yes. Yes, I have. Yeah. Yeah. I can do series 18650 in the dagger.
Let's see. You got the Ember.
This is the Jackaroo. Okay. Everybody knows the size of the Jackaroo. That's
a tiny little guy.
Yeah. I have the Ember is smaller than this. Swaggins has an Ember.
Yep.
Johnny Drips has an Ember. That's
you got the Guardians.
21. Yep. The Guardians are
my first ever Guardian. Is that I think Livia has the first ever Guardian, I think.
If you're talking color board, yes.
Yeah, because that was the DNA 75.
Yes. If you're talking the original Evolve board, no, my wife. My wife has that.
It was your wife and then probably Aziz, I think.
Actually, no, it's my wife, and then Jared has the second one.
Really? Okay, Aziz is probably third.
Yes. Aziz is the third one. He's got his first one was a B box, which was bigger than this. And then he wanted one of these. He wanted one of the shorter ones. But yeah, these are 21700s, DNA 250. Obviously running at 2 cells, you only get 200 watts. But unless you're really wanting high wattage, 200 watts is more than you're ever going to need.
Yeah.
And with a set of 40 Ts, I can go from all day. I mean, I can go all day on this.
Yeah, go all day and still probably have.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Half the battery life left.
I get more battery longevity out of the 21700 40 Ts than I do the LiPo.
Okay.
The LiPo does not last as long. Don't ask. I don't know why, but it doesn't last as long as the 21700s. And the nice thing is the 21700s are readily available. You can get them anywhere.
Yeah.
They're the same weight. There's no difference in weight. They work. They'll hold a 30 mil. All my boxes will hold 30 mil addies.
So the real question,
except for the Ember, that'll hold 28.
The real question is, what made you build these? What made you inspire you to be like, I want to make these bastards? So let's hear this.
I found Jared, found Jared's channel, and Jared is just pretty much a brother from another mother. I mean, we're pretty much a lot alike. Mm-hmm. And he kept mentioning this other channel, the Vape Stew. So I did a little Google foo and found the Vape Stew, and my first show that I ever watched, I've got it here somewhere. There it is, right there. First show I ever watched, Joel was giving this away. This is a PWM. It's a sub-ohm box, 18650. It's got a nice little blue display on it and everything else, and I actually won this. And before he sent it to me, I joined the Discord server, and Swaggins was in there, and Aziz and Cardmont, and there was a couple other people in there. It was right in the beginning of the Discord server, and we got talking, and somebody had a question about the original DNA 200 board, and I could answer it, so I did. And Swaggins like, wait, boxes? I'm like, yeah, dude, they're just simple electronics. I mean, there's nothing to them. I mean, anybody can do it. You just do a little reading. He's like, no, if you know how to build them, he says, you should tell people and they should buy them. And Aziz piped right up, and he's like, I want one right now. And I'm like, okay. He's like, you need to get me a price. And I'm like, dude, I don't even know price. I'm like, I'd have to look up what all the parts are going to cost me. He's like, well, do it now. He says, and tell me where to send the money. So I built the Z's, and then I figured out what things were going to cost me. And I literally just started building them for the Stewges. That was the DNAs. Then Demo, the hammer is Demo's fault. 100%. Absolutely Demo's fault. We're sitting in, video chat one night, and he says, I wish I could find a Titan that would fit 21 700s. I'm like, I can build that. And he goes, really? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right. And I figured out what I would have to do, and what parts I would have to get. And the next thing I know, I got Stan hit me up, and he says, I want one. He says, I have to have one of these. He says, this is crazy. He says, I have to have one, and you need to build it. I'm like, all right, cool. So Stan, if you look at Stan's box, Stan has the only, I'd always wanted to put the voltmeter in it. Okay. The way I put Stan's in, it's actually on the inside of the box with a button, so that you can check your battery level. Uh-huh. And that was such a nightmare with having to fit that in next to the battery sled. I will never build another one like that again. I was this close. It come this close to literally taking it out back with a 12-pound sledge, and telling Stan it can't be done.
It's like I dropped it and it just shattered into 5,000 pieces. I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
but you're not getting one.
So I finally got it put together, and Amy, with her, she can. I love the way she paints. She does all sorts of models and stuff, and go ahead. Show.
Oh, don't mind. It's on the bottom.
Yeah, but she does things like this.
Yeah, I did my own custom job on the inside of my door because HD is life.
So I mean, she's done Jared's logo. She's done, she did Stan's. She did Demo's. I mean,
I think she did James's too. I think.
Yes.
Back when
she did. Yes, his original logo.
Yep.
So I started building these, and then it just snowballed from there. I mean, I was building them for pretty much all the Stewges, and then they're like, no, you need to put these out. And it's like, okay, fine. When it really took off was NVE. I was going to build a box out at NVE just to take pictures, and everybody was going to be there, and they've all seen me build these things on camera, but never been right here where I'm playing with it. So I brought all my stuff. I brought my entire toolbox, my soldering station, everything out to Connecticut.
Yeah, I remember.
And at the the kitchen counter, I set up shop. I was sitting here, and Sammy Nitro was sitting right next to me, spinning coils up. And just two big guys sitting there working on shit, and it was awesome. And I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to give this one to Bogan because, it'll save me the shipping for sending it to Australia. So I found Bogan, at the NVE, and I said, here, take it. I said, this is yours. And I literally didn't give him any information, nothing. I just said, here, I want you to have this. And I don't know how he found out. I didn't give him a business card. I didn't give him nothing. I don't know who told him who I was. Okay. But all of a sudden, I think it was like a day and a half after I got home from NVE, he's hitting me up on Facebook under his real name. And I'm like, who the hell is this guy?
Who's this guy named Sam? What the fuck?
Yeah, I'm like, why? And then he's asking me. I'm like, oh my god, it's the Bogan. So he's asking me questions about it, and I thought nothing of it. And about 2 weeks later, he put up the video. Didn't know he was doing it. I was at work. I come off on lunch when I can actually grab my phone, and I had more notifications on my phone from questions and people wanting this, that, and the other thing, and then it just went from there. I've always just decided I just wanted to build something that would work. I researched the best materials that I could use. The wire I use is a silver tinned silicone high heat wrapped. It's the same wire that we used in the vacuum furnaces where I worked, they used them on the heating elements, and those machines would melt 400-pound charge of high cobalt steel in less than 5 minutes, completely liquefied. So I mean, I don't buy MOSFETs off of Amazon and or anything like that. I get them right from Mauser, right out of Texas. You got to buy good parts. That's the bottom line. Good parts. I haven't been impressed with MyTech switches at all lately. They're not what they used to be. The most failure rate that I've had on any of my boxes have had a MyTech switch in it. Mm-hmm. So I've got a company, ATI, who make they make a switch. It's actually an industrial panel mount switch, but they're domed. Okay. The button's actually domed.
Is that what you put in mine, or is it?
Is yours domed? Yeah, that's an ATI switch.
Okay.
It functions identically. It's got that nice click to it that a MyTech has, but I haven't had so far. I haven't had one of the ATIs fail where the first 15 or so that I built, I had 6 of them come back with MyTechs that were shot. So I don't know if it was a bad batch that I bought, but I right then and there I decided. I said, no more MyTechs. I said, I know everybody loves MyTech, but I'm not going to use them because if you have to constantly send something back, don't get me wrong, you got a problem with it, send it back. I'll take care of it. Anything I build, you got an issue, send it back. I'll take care of it and send it right back to you.
The funny thing is I just thought about this now. I'm thinking about all these people out there that have created their own boxes and created their stuff. I would say 95 to 98% of them, their profession in the work field was either an electrician or industrial maintenance, where you're doing electrical. Yeah. And of course, that's what you did. You worked on furnaces. You solder and you do all that kind of stuff. Like, look at Michelle and hers. She was taught how to solder at a very young age by her father.
Yes. Yep. She was taught to weld and everything else. Yeah.
Weld, solder, and everything. It's just crazy how you look at this and, like, of course, there's I work in the electrical field because I work in electrical sales. I know so many electricians that vape and all that stuff too. Like, I know ones that make their own liquid. But I haven't seen people that make their own mods yet. Like, it's a kind of technology that you think about it. It's probably cheaper than go out and buying a box, obviously. Mm-hmm. And
I mean, I like aluminum. I love billet aluminum. I love the strength of it. But I mean, I have been starting to play with 3D printing. You know, this is one I came up with. It's basically 3 parts. It's a DNA 75 squonk that this is not, it's not, didn't come out, it would work. The board fits right in it, everything. But it's too big in the hand. I need to squash it down and stuff like that. But I haven't even touched this. I haven't had time. You know, I mean, I'm
stuff at home, redoing the house.
Yeah, you know, I mean, mechanical. You know, with the switch. This thing's teeny.
Yeah, it's a little baby guy.
Well, here's a 21700 battery case. It's smaller than that.
And that's like an small little 18650 squonker. Or
yes. Yep. You know, all I'd have to do is get the 510 and the silver strip, because if I'm going to do it like everything else, it's going to have the lowest resistance that I can use. That's why I use hybrid silver solder. You know, everybody's like, oh, you got to have silver solder in it. It's like, no, you want low resistance solder. You want an alloy. You want the malleability and the strength of you know, lead, but you want that low resistance of silver. So you use a blend. And it ends up being cheaper in the long run. That's how I can keep the prices down on things. You know, I mean, the one thing I do that I don't see anybody else doing, I run dual MOSFETs in my mechanical boxes. The way a MOSFET works, I don't know if anybody's ever seen one before, out of its case. Let me get out of my box here.
Your box of goodies? Yeah,
my whole box of parts down here. Now, this is a parallel setup MOSFETs. I take another MOSFET, set it on top. It's got the resistor so that it shuts off when you let the button off. That's what the resistor does. It lets it bleed from one side of the MOSFET to the other. And it shuts the gate down. But there's a heat sink built into the MOSFET. Now, when you're pushing a button and you're running the current through this, because this is your switch, okay? The button does not carry any current whatsoever, okay? I've seen people build them like that, and you know, you're waiting to vent a battery or, you know, something else. You just can't put a switch. You can't put that much amperage through a switch. So all the switch does is take very, very minute millivolts, and it tells this to let the negative side go through to the 510. That's it. The positive's always connected to the 510. It's always live. It's the negative that's switched. So when you let the current run through here, this will heat up. This is a semiconductor, okay? That's why the metal is on the back here. It's supposed to be screwed to a piece of metal that acts like a heat sink, like on your PC, on your CPU fan. You know, you've got that heat sink on there that bleeds the heat off in the air. When these things overheat, that's when they burn out, okay? And they don't last as long. Now, when you run them in parallel like this, you've got that current split between two. So neither one of them ever heat up. Critical. They never get anywhere near hot. So a parallel MOSFET like this will last 500 times longer than a single MOSFET will.
I got a question in chat here from Buckin' Chutter Ranch. Is that what it's? Is that how you say his name? Because that may be the greatest thing I've ever heard.
A MOSFET is like it's
a relay.
Kind of. It
but
acts
then Michelle
like a
came in saying it's technically a transistor.
Yes. Okay. It's what it does is it acts like a relay. Okay. You've got the 3 legs on it. You've got the leg where your load comes in from your battery, from your power source, and then you've got the center leg, which goes out to your load, whatever you're supplying power to, and then your third leg, okay, is your gate, okay, and that tells when you apply power to that gate, it magnetically closes the transistor and allows the current to go through. Okay, so in that aspect, it does act like a relay. Unlike a relay is a magnetically closed solid contact. You've got little round contacts that smack together, and you know, they get dirty after a while. This is a digital, basically a digital relay, is exactly what it is. I mean, it happens in microseconds, where it takes time in a relay for that current to build up a magnetic charge and close the circuit, where in a MOSFET, okay, it happens in milliseconds, and it has infinitely less resistance than a resistor does. Okay. Could you use a resistor in it? Sure. But you're going to have a lot of built-in resistance in that box, which means it's not going to hit.
I think there's mods out there that have resistors in them.
Yeah, I've seen people actually use automotive resistors.
You see that little freaking freaking thing in there. Yeah,
the little GM ones that are like half an inch squared. You know, they got 5 legs on them. And,
where you know if it's bad if it pops.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to build like a steampunk mod type thing, I would probably, you know, use automotive resistors, and I would probably pull the covers off. Okay, so that you could actually, when you hit the button, watch that magnetic contact close. You know what I mean? Just because it'd be steampunk style.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I use good MOSFETs. I mean, there's MOSFETs out there. Michelle and I use the same MOSFETs. Speaking of which, when you're ready, you need more, Michelle, you let me know. There's differences in MOSFETs. There's schematics all over online to build your own box, and anybody who wants to build one, have at it, man. It's a riot.
Just know what you're doing.
Right.
You have to know what you're doing.
Right. Now you can buy MOSFETs from Mauser singly if you're only buying 1s and 2s. I mean, I'd buy a lot more than that. You can buy a MOSFET for, you know, 80 cents. Okay. Now I buy these in bulk, and I pay $2.50 a piece for them. Okay, they're upwards, you know, on the high end of MOSFETs, but they're rated for 194 amps a piece. So at 40 volts, but you're never going to run 40 volts.
But you're just giving that little extra protection to your product.
Well, yeah. I mean, well, okay. There's no fuses in mine because fuses take resistance. Okay, so if you put the batteries in upside down, they're going to vent. I mean, it's just, I've had a few people that have done it, and you know, they send it back. I take care of them and ship it back, and it's like brand new. But if you use better MOSFETs, okay, when you're soldering, if you're not used to soldering and you leave the heat on it too long, because heat is what kills a MOSFET. Okay, heat is what kills it. You overheat them, you're going to fry them. Now, when a MOSFET goes bad, 9 times out of 10, it dies closed, meaning the power will go through no matter what. You let off the button or not, it doesn't matter. The power is going to go through. So the easiest solution is just twist off your addy and yank your batteries. But, you know, it's a longevity thing. It's a longevity and resistance. Now, I've measured, you know, I've put 2 freshly charged 30Ts in a box, put it on the meter, okay, and measured the drop from what the batteries are putting out to what's actually coming to the 510. And it's a less than a 1/10 of a volt all the way through my circuit, all the way through the 510, everything. I'm not using silver 510s. I like the Veritube V2. It's a good 510. Works well. It's very rugged. They last. The springs are good in them. The insulators are good in them. It's a decent product at a decent
Let me
price.
give you guys a little example on the amount of voltage drop that doesn't happen. On fresh 21700s on this thing, with an addy on there, with the correct build in there, I've had this hit at like 4.1 volts.
Yep.
Fresh batteries hit it 4.1.
What are you running for build in that right now?
This is a 0.1 in there.
0.1? Yeah.
0.1.
So how old are the batteries? Well, hit it. See what you're reading.
Let's see. I don't have. I think I just took the batteries out to charge them.
Oh, you suck.
Yeah, but I think because my 21700s were older.
Dan is 100% correct. Never leave a batteries in any mechanical. I don't care if it's, you know, I don't care what it is. if there's no chip, there's no fuse, if there's nothing between your batteries and the 510, if you're not using it, take the damn things out.
Mm-hmm.
It takes less than 10 seconds to take them out and put them back in. You're not going to, you're not going to inconvenience yourself. Do yourself a favor. Just take the damn things out. And I don't care if it's a tube mech. I don't care if it's, it doesn't matter. I mean, you're not going to use a DNA for a week. Take the damn battery out of it. Because the new DNA boards are constantly sucking power. Constantly, because they have a clock and a calendar built into them and all the rest of this. So they're always on. Screen might be off, but they're always on. Okay, it's not like the old boards where it would shut down and there would be no voltage drain at all. But the new ones, you leave like this LiPo, if I leave it sit for a week and a half, battery will be dead. If you drain a battery down too far, you're not going to be able to charge it back up. So
that's when you're going to get the voltage drop really quick. When you try to charge it, just like it'll say it's fully charged when you charge it, but then you're going to get that instant. Like
your M17 was. Like your M17 did.
Mm-hmm. And with that, my 510 just completely came off.
Well, yeah, that's because you broke it in the inside.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
It's like cell phone. I broke a couple of those.
Yeah. And so we had a couple questions. I know somebody had a question. I think, let me look back up. Somebody had a question on what kind of enclosure do you use in your boxes?
I use an Alpine Tech.
Okay, so it was Halvor asked the question you kind of use. So what made you pick Alpine as your enclosure?
Hammond style boxes are not my thing. Mm-hmm. The corners are square. They're square. The top edges are rounded. If you look, all my boxes excluding the Ember. The Ember has a rounded edge at the top. Hence, that's why it only fits a 28 millimeter. But these are flush. I mean, you can put a 30 mil on here, and it's completely flush to the sides and the front on the Guardian. On the Hammer, I put the 510s in the center.
Here,
now,
I'll show you guys an example of putting a 30
I will tell you, unless you have a mill, unless you have a mill, you're not going to get a flush 510.
I'll throw a 30 on here right now. No overhang. Completely flush.
Mm-hmm.
Not coming off the sides on either end.
Well, I figure, there's a lot of 30 mils out there, especially tanks. And, I mean, I could get a thinner box, but it wouldn't fit the 21700s. If you order a box from any box manufacturer, mod maker, Alpine Tech, Drip 3D, which I don't think they're in business anymore. But let's say you're ordering a box. You're going to need to drill either a 10 or a 12 millimeter hole in the top, depending on what 510 you buy. And it's going to sit raised like this. Now, I know some people don't care about this. This drives me nuts. It drives me absolutely
flush all the way.
insane. Yes. It has to be, for me, it has to be flush. So I actually, when Demo asked me about it, I said, it's going to take me a few weeks because I have to figure out what tooling I'm going to need to get in order to mill. I mill these pockets. Okay. This is a dagger box, and this is a 1 millimeter.
So you're showing a box right now without the 510 in it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's just drilled for the switch and 510. This is actually, I gotta put this together. Every time I look at it, I keep forgetting about it. I've got to put this together, and I got to send it to Overdrip. So I don't know what happened with his in shipping or whatever, but his door on one edge doesn't want to sit flush. I don't care what it is. I'm just going to build a completely another one and send it to him, and then he can send me the other one back.
And then you'll try to fuck around with it and be like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, either that or I'll just put the thing up as a second and sell it at a wicked discount just to see. There you go.
Yeah.
But I got to put that together for Chris and get it done. Michelle's hand filing my mod right now.
So, okay,
I
we've
am
talked
so
about the
excited about
510,
that.
we've talked about the enclosure, we've talked about the MOSFET. Now, the one thing that we forgot to talk about is your battery slits.
Those are injected.
They're what?
Those are injection molded.
Where do you get them from?
Mossmax.
Mossmax does like...
Yep. If the only way I would use a different battery sled is if I had them injection molded myself.
Mm-hmm.
Look, 3D printing is great. You can buy 3D printed sleds. But when you're 3D printing, on a printer, the nozzle itself, okay? Now, these are printed at 205 degrees, okay? If you're using ABS plastic, you're going to print a little higher than that, 240, 250, maybe 260, depending on what material it is, okay? When you're soldering, your iron, your torch is 450 degrees or hotter, okay? 90% of everything that I solder is done at 635 degrees because I want to be able to touch it, liquefy in a split second, and then pull off and then let it solidify, okay? And I want that good brazing, because soldering is actually brazing. It's just done without flame. I want that hard connection to it. I don't want resistance. I want as clean a connection as I can get. So when you've got a 3D printed battery sled that was originally made at 200 to 250 degrees, and you're touching 600 or 400 degrees or whatever, whatever temperature you're using, you're going to melt that sled. Okay. Those injection molded sleds, I have soldered on those at over 700 degrees and have not been able to get one to deform yet. As Michelle uses the same sleds. She's the one who actually turned me on to them because I originally, Livia's box has a 3D printed sled in it. Mm-hmm. And you have to be really careful how much heat you put into it and everything else. Those Mossmax ones, forget it. The reason I can get them if you look at the bottom of your battery sled, okay, there's wires in that sled. All right. I take a Dremel tool, and then here's a sled right here, Corey. All right. They come with a channel in the back for your negative, because on your box, the negative comes up through here and then loops around to the MOSFET. Okay. But I have to bridge the connections from one side, one terminal to the other in order to parallel them. Okay. On both ends.
I see the solders underneath the sled.
Yeah. Okay. But what I do is I take a Dremel and I'll sit here and I'll route out a channel that's perfectly in depth and width to fit one of my wires in. I got one of my spools of wire here. It's the same size as the wire that I use, okay, so that it sits flush with the plastic.
Is the wire you get already paracorded, or?
No, I do that all. I mean, I've got more.
Well, you think about it, you with the paracord, that's just extra protection for the wiring.
Actually, it's just done to look pretty. The silicone insulation on that wire is rated to 600 degrees.
Okay.
The silicone, insulation on it 600 degrees on that. The voltage rating on the wire itself, because it's silver tinned stranded copper, is 600 volts. Uh-huh. So, it's high temp, low resistance wire. I mean, it's not cheap. A small spool like this one here is like $65.
Definitely. So since we talked about your mods, I want to kind of pick your brain on your DNAs a little bit. What would you recommend to anybody that wanted to build a mod with a DNA? How would you recommend them installing / preparing to create a mod with a DNA in it?
First thing, go to Evolve and download the PDF on whichever board you're going to use, whether it's going to be the one of the original boards or one of the new color boards. I highly recommend the new color boards. Not only do they look better, but the software, the firmware is updated more often. Read the data sheet on it. Okay, on there's certain. I don't have a bare board sitting here, I don't think, but there's certain through holes. Okay, and then you've got your battery connections on the bottom, your negative and your positive. Then you've got your the two up top. Those are a surface mount connection. You're going to need a good iron. I mean, can you do it with a $15 pencil torch? Yeah. Do I recommend it? Well, you're going to have resistance issues if you don't get it set in there at the right temperature. When you, especially, battery ones are fine, but for your negative and your positive on the 510, the connections to the board, if they're not wet in with the solder just right, it'll cause resistance issues. Like one time you'll put the Addy on it and it'll be 0.12. Okay, unscrew it, put it back on, might be a 0.16. You can't have that. I mean, you can't, especially if you're using it as a build station to put on a mechanical. Okay, you won't know where you are. I mean, that's the whole beauty of the DNA. Do your research, read. There's 5 or 6 different forum groups on Facebook. Evolve has their own. The forums on Evolve are there's a lot of information in there. My suggestion is if you have a question, read a lot first. Okay, search the forums, because if you type in a general question that's been answered 50 times before, yeah, it's just like any other forum. They're going to flame you pretty hard. But I mean, there's tons of videos out there. Analog Dan. If you're looking for an all-in-one kit, there's a guy in Canada. Yes, you're going to pay a little bit more for shipping. But Analog Box Mods. I mean, you're going to pay $15-20 to get it shipped into the States. But Dan puts out a phenomenal kit. And he makes videos on
Is that the one where he sends it out where you can make your own? Or
no.
he does it? Because I know there's people who've done it to where like send out like the stuff to where you can make your own, but then
yeah, there's tons of Motley Mods has kits, but Analog Dan's kits. I don't know. Well, I've got one of his, his pads. He sends me pads all the time. Mm-hmm. Dan has phenomenal stuff. I mean, his products are really nice. Not a big fan of the magnets that he uses, but that's my thing. Mm. I like my N52s. The magnets will tear your fingers off when you're closing the door, but my doors don't come off. But if you're looking to build a DNA, I mean, he'll send you a kit, okay, that'll have everything in it. It'll have the 510, it'll have all the buttons, it'll have all the wires, the battery sled, the DNA board, the board holder, everything. I mean, there's every part you need to build that thing, minus the tools, okay, will be in that box. And he stands behind everything he sells. So he's just a great guy.
Well, you got to stand behind a product. It's like I'm guessing his products is sold well enough to where. Oh yeah. If he has a bunch of people behind him saying that I support his product, then he stands behind it. And if somebody stands behind the product so much, you can't help but not trust it. You have to trust it pretty much because there's so many people behind it to where this guy must be doing something right. Yep.
I buy parts from him. He's got certain parts that I buy because they're better quality than his competitor. So I buy, his Squonk 510s, the only ones I use. The only ones I use. Mm-hmm. The 510 in my Embers. It's the only one that'll fit. It's the only one that'll fit. It has almost zero resistance in it. So I mean, the insulators are made of PEEK. Okay. I mean, it's got O-rings on the inside. Real silicone O-rings. There's a lot of companies out there that I've seen in their 510s. They put Viton O-rings in their 510s. I've seen companies that have put Viton O-rings in RDAs. Viton is a no-no, especially when you get it hot. Okay, when Viton's overheated and it starts to melt, it turns into an acid.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. I mean, when we were, we used them in the vacuum furnaces on the doors and everything else. And I mean, when they would get hit with, molten steel, okay, or electrical heat or anything else, we would have to neutralize the acid coming out of that rubber before we could even do anything with it.
That's
and
crazy.
then you're suiting up in freaking shoulder length gloves and everything else to rip it out of the door.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I wouldn't use a Viton O-ring in anything that's going to be
crazy.
even remotely close to being inhaled or ingested in my body. Not going to happen.
Definitely.
But yeah, I mean, it if you're going to build your own box, just do your research. I applaud anybody who does it. Look at Mike the Vaping 8. I mean, I walked him through, Discord on building his own. He built a parallel mechanical wooden box. I mean, it.
Yeah, I remember that thing. I remember it.
Yeah. I mean, we sat in the Discord video, not even on Zoom. We just a private chat, and I sat right through there, saying, all right, you need to do this, you need to do that, go for it. There's nothing more satisfying than building something for yourself.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
nothing's like the satisfaction of being able to pick up a mod that's as clean as you make it and say, I made this. This is a product of me.
Yeah.
It's something that you should definitely be proud of. I mean, all of us Stooges that you made these for are definitely so happy that we got these. We love what you've done. We love your product, and we can't wait to see what happens with the Gathering Vapor with the mods. We're hoping, because I know you've kind of gone through a little bit of slow patch right now.
I would love if I could get my brother in Florida. I have ideas for my own.
So guys, everybody in chat right now, if you haven't picked up any mod from the Gathering Vapor, I'm telling you, he has something for everybody's palate. If you like regulated, if you want it for a DNA, if you're looking for a parallel or a Series 18650, if you're into that, if you're looking for a parallel or 18650 or a parallel or Series 2700 or 21700, you got the hammers.
Yep.
There's so much variety. If you're looking for just a single battery freaking flavor, you can throw a flavor banger on there. If like you're looking for a little RDTA or an RTA to throw on there. In the high-end market, look at Stan and Swags. They use those with their little addies all the time.
Yep. Then it's small.
Yeah.
The Ember is literally smaller than, it's a DNA 75C 21700, and it's approximately the same size as a 2100 battery case.
I'm telling you guys, if you haven't picked up anything from the Gathering Vapor, hit him up on Facebook. He's more than willing to build you something.
Yes,
and plus,
Stan,
the cool thing about this is it's affordable. You're looking at Titan. You're looking at the Hexomes. You look at like all these like $300 to $400, almost $400 like boxes.
What's in Corey's hand, I sell for $130.
I mean, where can you go wrong with that?
I get $120 for the dagger.
For a good piece of machinery, it's going to be quality built. I mean, that's $130 I'm easily willing to spend again. Easily.
Stan's asking, so I'm going to have to show him again. Yes, Stan, I've got a 3D printer. I'm actually making battery cases now for 21s with a magnetic closure.
Look at that. Can somebody order those if they wanted to?
Absolutely.
Do you have a price on them yet? If anybody was looking,
I don't. I got to figure out exactly how much material I've got in it and everything else, and I just literally finished these. I also make them 18650 and 21700. It's
I'm going to say this because Stan hasn't yet. Are you willing, or can you do 18350 ones?
I could probably do that. I could probably do 18350. I might be able to fit like 3 or 4 of them in an Altoids tin. I just have to grab the calipers and measure it up and go into 3D modeling software. But I sent Michelle. Michelle has the first 2 I ever made. That's a drop-in tray that fit in an Altoids.
It's a battery case, but an Altoids tin? That's awesome.
Yeah. She's got one sled that holds 2 18650s, and she's got another one that holds 21 700s.
That's awesome.
And they close perfectly. I mean, it looks just like, an Altoids tin.
Oh, does that? Oh, yeah, Altoids? No, these are my batteries.
Right. Well, the reason I'm going to be that design came about, I was being selfish. I have a dull dime coming. Okay, I'm extremely excited about that.
Yours is a one of a kind, though.
Oh my God, dude! I can't wait. This RDA is going on that dull dime. That's why I bought this one. Okay, because it's 23 millimeter and the 510 on it's 22, so that just a slight little overhang.
You're not using a dull dime right if you don't have overhang on it.
Yeah, but I want it to look good, and that stainless steel is going to look awesome on
overhang
top
on a dull dime is what to do. That's like on the list she gives you. It's like you need to have overhang on there because it may look ridiculous, but it's that awesome at the same time.
But I wanted to be able to, I'm out using my dull dime. I didn't want to have to take one of these battery cases or one of the plastic ones. I wanted something that matched.
Mm-hmm.
So I will probably order another one of those Ouija board tins just to put, a battery sled in so that I have a Ouija board battery case.
That would be dope. But
I'd
like to see that.
I finally finished the 3D model of it and actually got them to print. And they look awesome. And they fit perfect in the tin. So I sent the first 2.
Michelle, you don't need to tell me to have Mark check his DMs because he can see what on the chat too.
Oh, here it is.
Here you got. Let's see pictures. See if you can throw pictures up on here so everybody can see.
I'm gonna. Hey, come back here. That's my tin right there.
Look at that.
Standing flush.
Look at that. That's not something you see that often, is a dull dime standing up straight up with you. Like, up.
That's awesome. Now here's the other one. This is going to look so awesome. Come on, load, please. Stop messing with me, internet. It's not going to load.
Stop messing with my emotions.
She's polishing the bottom of it.
Look
so
at
it'll
that.
Stand flush. But
that's going to be awesome.
That thing is going to be so badass.
That's going to be awesome. That's something you have to bring out into like the woods and take pictures of.
Oh, dude. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's going to be awesome. That's literally going to be legit as fuck.
Yep. That's I when she first told me about that board or that tin, she's like the second somebody said they were, I can't even remember who it was. I think it was it Tracy on the Discord server sent her that?
Yeah, I think so.
And she
because that's when Tracy found all like the different Altoids tins that she like, the vintage ones. Well,
yep. And the second Michelle got it, she says, "Nope, that's Mark's."
Oh yeah, that's like without a doubt that has to be yours. That's just, I mean, it goes with the name, it goes with the theme you have with your mods, your liquid, your logo. Yep. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
it's like it has to.
Yeah, I mean it works. I mean, I'm excited to get it.
Definitely.
Be really nice. So,
well,
I still don't, believe I deserve it, but
hey, you're everybody who has gotten a dull dime in my eyes deserves one. They've done enough for the community. They've done stuff to show their character.
Yep.
And you've shown countless times again, showing your character on the great things you've done. You show it in the product you create, and you show it in your just of how kind of a person you are. Like, obviously, you're a friend that I could see. You're going to be a friend forever. I know that.
Yeah.
I mean, seeing you in person, you tall ass motherfucker, just the bear hugs you give and the butt grabs you give as well, kind of awkward and I clinched because I don't want a finger going in. We get that idea,
yeah. You got to drink more moonshine next time.
No.
Yes.
This guy is like, let me tell you guys something. He is like determined. Let me tell you, determined to get me making bad decisions.
Yes.
That's like his goal. I felt like at times it's his goal in life. Like he wakes up in the morning, like, I wonder if I can get Corey in a gimp suit.
Yep.
And he's talked about it for months on end. Like, literally, full leather rubber suit, gag ball, everything. I'm no.
The crazy uncle that will give you alcohol at 8 years old. Yes.
No, you're the crazy uncle too, who would always also give their kid the jar of spit juice and say, "Yeah, it's booze.
Here, drink it. Yeah.
Drink it."
Tried that at NVE, but you wouldn't drink.
Nope. Because I think, yeah. So, guys, I think we're going to head it out with that. That's a kind of a great story to end it with. Of course, we're going to end the show with Mark wanting to put me in a leather suit with the gag ball. That's the perfect way to end it.
No, it wasn't leather. You know, gimp suits made of rubber.
I'm trying to get... Okay, rubber.
Oh, come on. Haven't you ever seen Pulp Fiction?
Not in a while.
You need to rewatch Pulp Fiction with the dungeon scene. That's the gimp suit we're going to put you in.
Oh, God.
The next convention that we're at, I'm telling you. Yep.
He gets me so uncomfortable when he says this stuff because I know for a fact he's going to...
If you're working the transistor booth, it should be green, too, so you look like an alien gimp.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm going to talk to your boss.
Oh, God. No, I'm not. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. On that note, guys, again, I'd like to thank Mark for joining me today. Again, I know everybody appreciates seeing you. We haven't talked to you in a while, so it's glad to...
Just been busy.
I hear you, man. I hear you. We're all happy to see you. We're all happy things are going well. Guys, I'm telling you, if you guys haven't picked up a mod from the Gathering Vapor, if you have the money doing it, and you have the money to spare, it's money you will not regret spending. I'm telling you. He has color selections up the ass.
Yep.
And the amount of customization you can do with these mods is... I would say that his mods are the most customizable you can get from somebody who builds mods for you.
And if you want it laser engraved, I've got a guy. I have not been able to save the funds for a laser. I can't do the 15 grand.
Man.
But I've got...
How many people can do the 15 grand? Let's be honest here.
Well, here's the thing. I've got a guy who, you know, Stan actually introduced me to him, and I send him a lot of boxes to get done. Now, as far as his pricing goes, it's all dependent on what you want engraved. Okay. I build the box for you. I ship it directly to him, and then he engraves it. He takes care of all that for you, and then he ships it directly to you.
Okay, we have one more question here. I just want to say his name again too, because it's Buckin' Chutter Ranch 1. He has a question: Is plumber's flux okay for wiring?
No, it is not. No, it is not.
Do you have an explanation?
It's not designed. It's not designed for electronics. Okay, when you're soldering on printed circuit boards or, you know, transistors, MOSFETs, resistors, things like that, they're susceptible to... Flux is an acid. Okay, it's a heat activated acid. If you put flux on a copper pipe, soldering pipe, the second you put heat to it, you can actually watch that copper or change. The oxidation literally liquefies off of it and it comes off. That's what the flux does, is it cleans the metal, okay? Gets it prepared to accept the brazing medium, whether it be solder, or, you know, braze, silver solder, whatever you're using. If you're going to do electronic soldering, you can get this off of Amazon. You can get it at any you know, electronics shop in your area. It's made by MG Chemicals. It's a no clean paste flux in a syringe. The number on it is 8341. You can get it right off Amazon. It's $10-12. I go through a lot. Most average people, this tube would last you the rest of your life. Comes in a syringe, okay, so you can actually just, put a little out, dab on there, and, there's no bucket or anything like that. I clean this. I use alcohol. I clean all my joints when I'm done, okay, because I just can't stand to see flux, solidified on a joint. It just looks ugly to me. Michelle does the same thing. But this, you don't have to clean this. Where with plumbing solder, it stays acid. So if you leave it on a printed circuit board, it can actually delaminate the circuit board. Okay. It can actually creep inside the transistors and it will kill them. They'll be dead. I mean, will it work? Yes. Is it going to last? No. And you can do more harm than good. So do yourself a favor and buy one of these. If you're really seriously thinking about getting into, into solder and project work, spend $100 and buy one of these. Okay, it's a Haku 888. This is the D because it's the digital. Completely adjustable, replaceable tips. I mean, if you're going to be getting into this as a hobby, or even playing with your own car stereos, your cars, whatever, fixing your kids' toys, it doesn't matter. Fixing the wife's vibrator, I don't care what you're going to do with it. Okay. It's $100, $110 on Amazon. You get the complete kit. Okay, new tips will cost you like $5, but it's a tool that'll last you the rest of your life. Spend the money. If you're going to buy a box from somebody, okay, now you're going to buy a box. You're paying because somebody else has the equipment. But if you want to build it yourself, buy the tools. And everybody knows the same rule. He who dies with the most tools wins. It's as simple as that. Collect tools. It's a skill you can use forever. It just get it. Buy it. You want it.
Definitely. And if anybody, I know I'm not going to answer the question for you, but I know you're probably going to have the answer that I'm about to give. If anybody ever has any questions about building boxes or anything, reach out to Mark.
Hit me up.
Reach him out. Reach out to him. He's more than willing to help in any way possible. Because, first of all, he wants to make sure you're doing it safe. That's top priority. You want to make a product that's going to be safe.
I would hate for somebody to build themselves a parallel box or, anything like that. And the first time they hit the button, the damn thing vents on them. Okay. That would not be nice.
Yeah.
You want to know things. You want to know, what to buy, what not to buy. Hit me up. Whatever. Yeah. I'll answer.
More than willing to help.
And if I don't answer you right away, I'm working on something or whatever. But I always get back to everybody. So
definitely. So on that note, guys, again, I'd like to thank Mark for joining me today.
Finally, we got to do it.
Yeah. Finally, we got to do this. We had some great conversation. Got a lot of technical gold on building boxes on this. So anybody that is looking, if you're watching the replay, hopefully you got a lot of good information off this. This is awesome stuff. Awesome information we got today. So again, Mark, thank you, man. Thank everybody for watching. Buddy. And don't forget, we got What's in the News on Wednesday with me and Sean. And then next week, we got another episode of What's Your Story. And don't forget to check out the Ohmies on Mondays. We do a thing. I know it's been around for a little bit, I guess. It's been long running. So go check us out on the Vaping with the Ohmies YouTube. Also join our Facebook group. It's where you see a lot of us post our individual stuff on there, like individual videos we're doing on our YouTubes or just any stuff we have going on. So make sure to check us out on that. Also, if you haven't watched the green room from yesterday, got very perverted but very funny at the same time. So go ahead and rewatch that green room because if you get uncomfortable with certain conversations, you're going to get uncomfortable a little bit, but it's hilarious.
Fair warning, but it's a good time.
Yeah. So also make sure to go check out the green room every Friday before the stew. Great time. But 3 of my favorite dudes of all time doing an awesome thing. Oh yeah, and is Buck and Shoot Ranch. Oh. It looks like Buck and Chutter.
Yeah, and Poon Sauce McGimp.
No.
Yes, that's going to be the new hashtag for you. Anytime I post something now, it's Poon Sauce McGimp.
Ugh. God damn it. On that note, guys, before we talk any more about Gimp Suits...
Poon Sauce McGimpy.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Before we start talking any more about Gimp Suits...
I'm going to talk to Erica about putting your Photoshopping your face into a Gimp suit.
No.
Yes.
Guys, I'd like to thank everyone for watching, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.